Hello YouTube, welcome back. This is Madan. In this video we are going to learn the 4 HTTP verbs that we use to build our web API controller, and here is the project that we created in our previous demo. And normally in the REST API or the any web API controller, we use mostly in nutshell we use 4 types of HTTP verbs. We use post, we use get, put, and then delete. The post, if we want to create anything into our web API or into the server, then we use the post method. Let's say you want to create the product, then we use the post verb, and in order to read we use get. In order to update or replace the whole object or the whole server resource, we use the put method. And in order to modify the object or partial, in order to do a partial update, let's say we want to modify only a few properties of the product, then we can use patch verb. And in order to remove the resources, we use the delete verb. So in this demo we are going to learn the 4 HTTP verbs: post, get, put, and delete. So let's jump to the Visual Studio. So this is the project that we created in our previous demo, and here we have created one action before. So this get method, get method has been decorated with the HTTP get attribute. So this is the resource. This resource gives data, or this endpoint gives this data information about the product to the consumer of the web API. Let's create another method here. Let's say we want to create the product and store it into our database. Then we can use action result, and then we can name anything. Let's say we can give it a name of new product, or we can give it a name of, we can give it new, or we can say create product. We can give it the any name we want. And then if we want to create the product, then it should get product from on the view. Let's say if we are building the backend for the mobile application, then mobile application sends product to this endpoint. Or if we are building the desktop consumer of this API, then the desktop application or the desktop client would send product to this endpoint. So in order to receive the data sent by the client to our web API, we need to decorate it with the from body attribute, and then we are going to accept product from the client, and let's create the variable of the product. Now if we decorate this method with the HTTP post, then this method accepts the product from our client. Now for instance, for now, let's just simply return the OK result. That means OK means everything is fine, the product has been created. Here we write some few lines of code, and after then if the product has been created successfully, then we return OK. Otherwise we return bad request, like this. So for now let's return OK. And in order to create in order to update the product from our API endpoint, we need to create the method decorated with the HTTP put verb. So now the method could be anything public. We can give it a name of anything. Now for simplicity, let's only give it update from body. And then in order to update the product, we receive product from our view from the API client or the consumer. And then for now let's return OK. So this method receives object from our API consumer, and it does something. Let's say if the object is in the database, then it updates and go to the database, update the record, and then if it is successful it returns OK. Otherwise it returns bad request. Or we can do this also. We can enclose this inside the try catch statement, and then if everything goes OK, then it returns OK. Otherwise it return bad request. And if we want to send the cause of the exception to the consumer, then we can send ex.toString from here, this way. Now we have the get method from by using which we can get the resources from the server. We have a post, we have put, and then in order to remove the product or the resource from the server, then we use delete verb. So the name of the method can be anything, just like before. And in order to delete the product or any resource, normally we need id, and id is sufficient to remove the product from the database. Now in order to make this method delete, then we need to decorate this with the http verb. Now for now just to return okay. In our upcoming video we will create the actual product, we will create the database table for the product, and write the actual code to create, update, delete, and fetch the product from the database and pass that to the client. So at this point, if I run this application, then our Swagger dashboard should give us the 4 API endpoints. So it has started up and it has marked, the Swagger has known the type of the endpoint. So this is the get, and the another one is the post, put, and delete. So if I try get, we have already done. So if we click on try it out and then execute, then we get the list of the product here. So if we want to try the post is to create the product. So and if we click on try it out, then in our request body we need to send the product to this server, and if we click on execute, then this data gets sent to the server. And once the data reached to the server, or this method, that means if we click on the post, then we get data into this method, and after that, once we receive data or the product, then we can do anything we want for that product. And the another one is the put. So if you want to update the product, then we need to call this endpoint here. So if we click on try it out, then we need to send id, we need to provide the product that we want to update. Similarly, if we want to delete the product, then we can try this endpoint, and the parameter appears here. So in our method of the delete, so if we go here, we require this parameter id to delete the product, and this method has been decorated with the http delete verb. And in the Swagger endpoint, we get the placeholder to pass the id to that method. So if we pass id from here, type the id and then click on execute, then that data get sent to this endpoint. So for instance, if I put a breakpoint here and then run the application again, and then let's try our delete method here, try it out, and then let's send to, and then if we click on execute, then our breakpoint has been hit. And if we inspect the id, then we get the value of 2 here. So in the REST web API, so if you don't know about the REST, then please browse on the internet and gather sufficient theoretical knowledge about the REST web API. The API product API we created here is a REST API. So we can use, basically we can use 4 HTTP verbs to create the controller of our web API. So HTTP get to get the resource from the server, HTTP post to send the resource to the server, HTTP put if we want to update the resource of the server. Let's say we want to update the product, then we use HTTP put, and in order to remove the resource, we use HTTP delete verb. So this is it for this video, and in our future video we will continue our web API series in .NET 5. Thanks for watching and have a great day.